Welcome to our weekly review as we seek to solidify what we've read this past week and then also to bring it back to the meta-narrative. Now, as I thought about what's taken place in our reading this week in the book of Proverbs, because Proverbs is all about manifest wisdom, wisdom being taken to the streets of wisdom, knowledge, of having shoes on, and it shows up in every area of life, which my mind immediately went back to the garden, because what he says in early Proverbs is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And so where did we lose wisdom? And why are we so desperately needy people and desperate for God's wisdom? Well, it goes back to the fall. Because what happens is God establishes a boundary in the garden. And he says, don't eat from this tree, the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat of this tree, you will certainly die. But of course, we know the enemy comes in and he says, oh, you won't surely die. You'll be like God. In fact, you will know good and evil. And so what happened is they ate that piece of fruit, and now they're limited to their inability to be wise, that they cannot really know good and evil. So they need wisdom that comes from outside of themselves. And so what Adam and Eve did is they populated the whole earth with people just like them. People who were desperate for the wisdom of God. We need wisdom that comes outside of ourselves. And so when we come to the book of Proverbs, we see that God has answered his prayer by giving Solomon wisdom. And over the course of Solomon's life, he records at 3,000 Proverbs. And so what you have is distilled in the book of Proverbs is about 900 Proverbs. And so as I was thinking about this time of review, because as we read the book of Proverbs, we say, oh yeah, I need to be generous. Oh yeah, I need to discipline my kids. Oh yeah, I need to be a person of self-restraint. But I don't think we look at the book of Proverbs and say, what is a culture of people who don't have wisdom? Well, I made a couple of notes of, all right, so what does a culture look like when God's wisdom is not in their midst? You have everyone is lazy. How does that work? What about disease-ridden immoralities driven by sexual sin? Or about anger, an increase of anger where everyone is extremely angry. Or you have people who just totally disregard the rights of other people. Or you have, there's no regard for authority, no respect for authority. There's no one who wants to be under the hand of discipline, either from someone else or from discipline themselves. So you have a total lack of self-restraint in any area of life, especially in the area of speech. Why? Because Proverbs talks about how important it is to watch our words and to be careful in our speech. So when everyone's doing what's right in their own eyes because there's no manifest wisdom of God in their midst, you're going to have a society full of people who are narcissists. That is a dangerous place to live for anybody. No one is safe. That is why we need wisdom. That's why the book of Proverbs is so critical for believers to immerse themselves in, because we need wisdom in how to live in a world that lives outside of the presence of God, so they can see righteousness and what righteousness looks like. That we can be that light that's not hidden under a bushel, but we can be the light that's manifest to draw people to the fact that everyone needs the wisdom of God. So who is this person without God's wisdom? It would be the narcissist. And so what's happened here is you have people who don't have the wisdom of God. They're only aware of themselves, and they are the epicenter of their lives, and that's the dangerous, and it's a breakdown of every culture. So that's why the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Only as men are aware of God do they see their need for wisdom. We need God's wisdom. Why? Because it is his world. We were created for him. We were created for community. And without the wisdom of God, we can't experience any of those things. God bless.